Most people spend their entire lives trapped inside a prison they cannot see. This prison has no walls, no guards, no locked doors. Its bars are made of beliefs, fears, and illusions, so deeply ingrained that you mistake them for reality itself. You don't even realize you're a prisoner because the prison was built around you before you could speak, before you could question. You grew up inside this invisible cage, taught to follow its rules, and now you enforce those same rules on yourself. Carl Jung once said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul." This is the heart of the prison. It is not external, it's internal. It is the fear of looking inward, the fear of seeing your own shadow, the fear of admitting that most of your life has been lived on autopilot. You think you are free because you can choose what to buy, where to go, or who to follow online. But these choices are illusions. They are options presented to you by a system that knows exactly how to keep you distracted and asleep. Your prison is built from unquestioned beliefs. Think about it. How many of your values are truly your own? The way you define success, love, happiness, did you create these definitions? Or were they handed to you by society, parents, culture, religion, and media? The truth is uncomfortable. Most of your identity is borrowed. And that's not your fault. You were born into a world designed to mold you before you knew who you were. The prison is also reinforced by fear. Fear of rejection keeps you obedient. Fear of failure keeps you from pursuing your dreams. Fear of judgment keeps you performing for others instead of living authentically. And fear of uncertainty keeps you clinging to the familiar, even when the familiar is killing you slowly. The bars of this cage are invisible but strong because fear doesn't need chains. It only needs your belief in its power. One of the greatest illusions is that freedom will come through achievement. Society trains you to chase status, money, recognition, promising that once you make it, you will feel free. But this is a trap. External success cannot give you internal liberation. If your mind is enslaved by fear, comparison, and self-doubt, no amount of wealth or fame will set you free. True freedom is not given, it is claimed. It begins with inner awareness, with the courage to see the cage for what it is. Awareness is your key. Once you see the invisible walls, you begin to loosen their grip. You start questioning your programming. Why do you want what you want? Why do you fear what you fear? Why do you believe what you believe? These questions are uncomfortable because they threaten the identity you've built. But your identity is not the real you, it is a mask. Jung called it the persona, the false self created to survive and fit in. Behind the mask lies your true self, untouched by fear, shame, and conditioning. Shadow work is essential to escape this prison. Your shadow is everything you've suppressed. Anger, shame, desires, pain. You've buried these parts because you were taught they were bad or unacceptable. But these rejected parts hold your power. By integrating them, you reclaim your strength. This is why so few people are truly free. Freedom requires facing the parts of yourself you've spent your whole life running from. The ego will resist this journey. The ego thrives on control and certainty, and it fears death. When you begin questioning your beliefs and breaking free from illusions, your ego will panic. It will try to convince you to go back to safety, to stay inside the familiar cage. But growth always feels like danger to the ego. You must be willing to step into uncertainty, to let go of who you think you are, in order to meet who you truly are. Silence becomes your ally in this process. The modern world is designed to keep you distracted, endless scrolling, constant noise, and dopamine hits that numb your inner voice. But when you sit in silence, you begin to hear the whispers of your soul. At first, this silence feels unbearable. It forces you to face the emptiness you've been running from, but beyond that emptiness lies truth. Silence strips away illusions. It reveals the difference between your real self and the persona you've been performing. Freedom is not about rejecting society or running away from responsibilities. It is about transcending the mental prison that keeps you enslaved to fear. It's about living authentically, regardless of external validation. When you are free inside, you cannot be manipulated by trends, opinions, or expectations. You no longer chase approval because you no longer need it. You stop comparing your life to others because you realize life is not a competition. This path is not easy. Freedom requires courage, the courage to see the truth and act on it. It requires letting go of attachments to your image, your possessions, your comfort zones. It requires facing pain and discomfort instead of numbing it. But on the other side of this work is a peace that cannot be shaken. It is the peace of someone who has seen through the illusions of the world and chosen to live consciously. The prison of your mind was built with lies, but those lies only have power as long as you believe them. You are not your thoughts, you are not your fears, You are not the stories you've been told. You are something deeper, something vast, powerful, and infinite. This is why silence terrifies you, because in the silence you come face to face with your true nature. And that truth is freedom. The world will try to pull you back into the cage. It will tempt you with distraction, noise, and comfort. But once you've tasted freedom, you can never truly return. The illusion becomes clear, and you begin to see others trapped in the same invisible prison. This is when your journey transforms from personal liberation to collective awakening. Your presence, your authenticity, and your courage inspire others to question their own cages. This is how true change begins, not through force, but through consciousness. You hold the key. You always have. The question is, are you willing to use it?